everyone. My name is Courtney Kim Bimbernew. My show name is Courtney KB. I have been teaching with VIP Kid. I've been teaching the major courses for a little over a year. I started around Chinese New Year of last year, and I have been a mock class mentor for about six or so months. Um, I am located in Sacramento, California. It is quite sunny right now. Yes, I can tell that summer
Hello,
is coming.
my name is Donna Dunbar. My friends and family call me Posty. That's why some of you may have seen two names. I am first a teacher with VIP Kid. And I remember when I had my first mock class. I did it 2 days after I had major surgery. And I remember sitting there in front of the camera, and the mock class mentor was like, "You just need a little more energy." And I was thinking, if I give you any more energy, I'm going to pop a stitch. I love mock class mentoring. I also love teacher mentoring and working with all the different teachers doing workshops, doing the senior mentoring and getting to have different experiences with VIP Kid. I think we have some of the most amazing people in the world. So it's nice to meet you.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Patrick. I'm a mock class mentor with VIP Kid. I live in Mexico and I've been a mock class mentor for a little bit over a year. So I've certainly had a couple situations where maybe things didn't go exactly like I'd planned. Maybe applicants had some concerns I wasn't totally comfortable handling. I think as mentors, we've all kind of been there. We have a couple videos to go over today. I haven't watched them yet, so I'm just gonna check them out. Then we'll talk a little bit about them afterwards. So let's get them started.
I'm very sorry, but there's a lag between your video and your sound. Your video doesn't match your sound. Do you have an Ethernet cable? Perry, can you hear me?
I'm sorry. I
If I were the applicant, if I was the applicant, if I was the AP, I would maybe perhaps feel a little frustrated. Perhaps she prepared a lot and she's all ready to go. She's all kind of excited, but then there is this technical issue that is getting in the way that she perhaps was not prepared for. So I would feel a little frustrated. I would also, maybe feel a little defensive, like, oh no. And I kind of saw that a little bit towards the beginning, like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with my internet. So, maybe someone with not that much technical background or who's not familiar with like internet speeds or anything, they might be kind of clueless as to why there's a connection problem and why everything is slow and about having to run a speed test and about the different numbers and speeds and stuff. So like maybe a little confused, a little frustrated, a little defensive if I were the AP. And I would feel maybe a little dejected, like a little upset, like, oh no, is this not going to happen right now? I prepared for this mock class. Is this not going to happen because of this
From the
technical
applicant
problem?
standpoint, that's definitely discouraging. They've been preparing for this lesson, they've got it all set up, they're really, really looking forward to getting hired to work with a great company, and then tech issues.
If I were the applicant, I would feel horrible because most of the time, a lot of these applicants are taking time off from work. They're rearranging their schedules, doing everything that they can to get ready for this process. I have had this happen where applicants have come in, and there are many different reasons behind bad internet connection. I try to explain to them how the Wi-Fi works and it bases off signals and this type of thing. But ultimately, I've had applicants that have come in and it wasn't their fault. Weather conditions made a difference, their internet service going down. There were different construction things going on and things they had zero control over. Things happen. Technology is a strange thing, and to get through it can be very, very difficult.
So if I was my class mentor in this particular situation, I would just ask the applicant, I too would offer the speed test link. I would just ask them, have you been able, or can you go ahead and run a speed test? These are some of the particular sites that I like to use, and I would write the sites in the chat box, like speedtest.net or the Google site. I would also remind them that, we are teaching students that are so far away, and that we are using this wonderful, wonderful thing called the internet. And the internet has a lot of capabilities, but then can also be a little frustrating sometimes. So we just want to make sure we are doing everything on our end to make sure everything runs as smoothly as possible. And one of those things that we can do is to make sure that we have an Ethernet cord. So having an Ethernet cord as opposed to using the Wi-Fi just helps to get our speed moving as quickly as possible. And then we also checking in with your internet provider and making sure your package is, up to the requirements for VIP Kid. So doing those things, just making sure everything is A-okay on our end, just helps cut down on these technical issues, right? Because anytime that we have a technical issue on our side, that is class time that the student is missing out on. That's class time that we are missing out on and interacting with the student. And we want to just make sure we can hear and see the student as well as possible. And so, although we cannot control all things when it comes to the internet, we do try to control as much as we can. Applicants, so just make sure, that you go ahead and plug that computer into an Ethernet, and then you also just check with your internet provider and it's like, how fast is my, internet speed package, and making sure it is up to that 20 Mbps as speed that the company does require. And if you have any questions about that, I would just direct you to the website, and there is a lot of information about the speeds and the technical requirements, the technology requirements that we do have. And then, yes, if it continues, if I do notice that the AP is continuing to cut out and we are not able to converse with each other, then I would just say, unfortunately, I am so thoughtful and mindful of your time and, also my time. And I just want to make sure that we are hearing and that we are seeing each other as clearly as possible. Unfortunately, I think that right now, without like the Ethernet, or with that particular speed, that particular internet speed, say the AP had done a speed test and it was at the 8. It's like, I unfortunately do not think, I want you to have the best experience possible. I want you to have the best mock class as possible. And I don't think that is possible, with this current internet speed. So I love to reschedule. I love to just send in a request to have you reschedule. You won't, probably most likely will not have me as another mock class mentor, but it was really nice meeting you today, and I hope everything gets figured out, because I know the company would love to see you show off your skills and to teach these lessons. Okay, I hope you have a great day, and then bye. And I would say bye to the AP. And then just, send in that reschedule request for the AP. And then maybe I would type in the chat box like, please go to this link to learn more about our technical requirements, our speed test requirements, or this internet speed requirements, and just make it very, very clear, be very explicit. So trying to be very explicit in the requirements, but also being kind and a bit non-blaming. I think that if I'm like, hey, why is your internet so slow? What's wrong here? That will just kind of agitate the AP and a little bit, and I don't want them to leave feeling like, oh, that mock class mentor was not very nice to me. This company is not very nice. Like, I want them to feel supported, but also that we do have requirements, and just being really explicit in that. So trying to balance both of those together.
So from the best advice I can give an applicant, I think it's very similar to a mentor like this. You got to tell them first, how can we fix it? Well, you can get an Ethernet cable. That's one way that can kind of stabilize your internet connection. I like that she let the applicant run a speed test, which is really easy to do. You can tell your applicant, Google internet speed test, and it's the first link that comes up. Looks like the speedometer on your car. And that's going to show you your upload and download speed. So once she kind of diagnosed the issue there, she seems to find out, all right, the download speed is a little bit slow. Chances are there's nothing we can do about it. We can do about it for this class in particular. But she doesn't just leave her hanging. She continues to tell her, contact your cable provider. See if they can get it figured out for you. See if you can upgrade your internet speed. That's one way we can get this fixed. So instead of just telling them, class isn't going to work today, we're going to have to reschedule, we need to think of some ways to leave them some tips, something productive they can work on in the meantime. So when they do reschedule, class is going to run a little bit smoother. The only thing maybe that I would add as the mock class mentor here is just a little bit of personal experience. Let them know this kind of stuff happens. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. All you have to do is follow these easy steps and we'll get it figured out for you next time. So don't let them think, it's all on them. Let them know this happens to other applicants. This has happened to me before. We've all had an unstable connection once or twice, but it's fixable. We can get it all figured out. So I think on the whole, these are really common issues we all deal with. So these are definitely important things to practice up on how you're going to handle that situation when it does inevitably happen.
I understand the MCM. There's no way that we could do a mock class with this type of interference in the classroom. And the applicant does need to know that there is a minimum speed in order to have that classroom be successful. I would probably also like to do as an MCM here is I would try to tell her that rescheduling is the best option for her based upon her success, because we want her to succeed in the classroom. There's no way that we could continue a successful mock class here and she would ultimately not pass. And that is not something that they want to spend time doing. They don't want to get in there and not pass. So in this case, it would be in her best interest to reschedule.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with my internet. I just had a class before this.
Have a great rest of your day or evening. It was good to kind of virtually interact with you. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
I think I'll hang it up from here though, guys. I hope that's helpful. If there's any questions or anything, let me know for next time, but have an awesome day. See you around.